When a masking data activity is created, the following configuration properties are created for you. Our first step will be to edit these default configurations to suit your needs. To do this, click the Edit button in the right-hand corner to bring up the following form. The masking list application ID refers to seed lists. If you're using a seed list, you will need to choose the application that contains those lists. The locale will change the result in some randomized functions that are dependent on location, for example, addresses. For a complete list of locations, please refer to our knowledge base documentation. By default, it will be in English. The batch size refers to the size of a batch of rows to use in updating the database. If you would like to cross-reference, choose the database connection you'll be cross-referencing against in the cross-reference ID field. A database view is the result set of a stored query, which could be queried in the same manner as a persistent database collection object. Toggle this to on if you would like to include views, otherwise it could be toggled off. Now we will attach our database connection that we want to mask. Under Add Components, choose the Attach Default Database Connection component. This will bring up a screen to select your database connection. Next, we will attach the definition version to mask. Under Add Components, choose the Attach Definition Version component. It's important to note that the definitions and versions must be associated with the database connection we configured in the previous step. Definitions that are created from other database connections will not execute. Now that we have our database connection and definition version chosen, we could create a new rule set. This rule set will be driving our masking rules. In your newly created component for the definition version, choose Create New Rule Set from the Actions drop-down list. Then click the Play button. Select the server you want to use from the drop-down. Then add a new rule set name, version name, and description. Now we'll need to create the rules that will drive the masking. There are two ways to create rules. The first method is by using global defaults. These are rules that are set on a global rule that you can apply to your masking data activity. Rules are applied to different tags that are overlaid on columns. This is a fast and powerful way to mask large amounts of data at once. The second method involves adding individual masking rules onto each column. This allows you to have more control over each individual column, but takes more time to set up. To begin creating rules, select the Modify action for your newly created rule set, then click the Play button. To view the global defaults in your space, navigate to Master Data Management, Configuration, then Defaults. This page will tell you whether a tag is applicable to use for global defaults in synthetic data generation, masking, or both. To edit a global default, click the Edit button. This will allow you to configure your tags and values. To apply the global defaults to your masking data activity, click on the Reapply Global Defaults button. To add individual columns, locate the column you want to apply a rule to and open the Masking Rules drop-down. TDA has many different types of rules built in. To reference a list to use in masking, select the General option. The functions refers to the specific masking rule we want to use. These are dependent on the type of masking rule chosen above. The Where clause allows you to apply a where clause statement to your rule. The cross-reference field allows you to enter a database name to cross-reference. Depending on the type and function you've chosen, you may see a drop-down list with parameters. This example is for list lookup. The list name refers to the name of the seed list you'll be using. The selection types allows you to choose the way in which values from the seed list will be chosen. Let's go over each of the options. Random selects a row from the database at random for a given column. Sequential will go down each of the rows sequentially and start from the beginning again once exhausted. Hashing is the process of transforming any given key or a string of characters into another value. Hashing will take a column value, hash it to provide a large number, then modify that number by the number of rows in the list to tell you which row to use. This provides the same column value, hash algorithm, and rows in the list to provide the same result whenever the hashing is run. Column to return refers to the column in the list to use. This defaults to 1, but you can have a multi-column list. Column to hash refers to the column to hash if you are hashing to select the row. This defaults to the column being masked. Now that we have our rules configured, we could create our masking submit form. From Actions, choose Create Data Masking Submit Form. To use a form which has been created previously, choose from Add Components, Attach Submit Form. This will bring up a screen to select the server you want to use. This will be the server that executes the masking job. Now we can execute our masking job. From the top component, choose Execute as the action, then press the play button. A form will appear to input our job details. You will need to select the database connection ID to mask. Selecting Create Auto Reports will create Excels which can be downloaded at the completion of a job. This will show the changes made to the database. This Excel will contain the data you are masking, so this is recommended only under special circumstances. The number of batches to audit refers to the size of a batch of rows to use in updating the database. The Validate Masking Rules option will check if your rules are working as intended without altering your database. Your job will now run, and if the Audit Reports option was selected, it will provide a zip file to download. The end result is a fully masked database.